Hello, in today's video we will be talking about arithmetic operations in C#, and these are your basic addition, subtraction, multiplication. We will also be talking about special operators in C# that we refer to as increments and decrements. And to do this we will be using a game rental application that we refer to as Gamebox. So this is an application that allows the user to rent games per day. We already have created a few labels. So we have the daily price labeled, so that's the price that the user would pay for renting the game for a day. We also have the days number label, so that's the number of days that you can keep the game, and it is initially set to 5. We have a shipping label that includes the shipping costs. We have a coupon text box where the user can enter any coupon amount that they have. We have a checkout button, and we have a total label where we need to display the total amount to be paid by the user. So let's go ahead and modify the checkout button click method. So the first thing we will do is to create variables to hold the values of our labels. The first variable that we need is the daily price variable. As you might have guessed, our daily price variable will include the value that's included in our daily price label. Text. Now remember that the text of our label is a string variable, so we first need to convert that variable into a double variable. To do that, we use the double parse method. Okay, so now we have our daily price variable including the daily price label text value. The next thing we will need is a number of days variable. Very similar to what we did before. We use the parse method and we will pass a string, and our string is days num label .text. That should do it. We need to create a very last variable for now, which we refer to as total. Our total variable would then include the product of the daily price variable and the days number variable. So in C# it's very straightforward to calculate the products. So now our total variable holds the total amount to be paid, which is the daily price multiplied by the number of days. And we want to display that amount in our total label. So we're going to assign the value of our total variable. However, our total variable is a double variable, and to store anything in a label.text, we need to convert it into a string. So we use the .toString method. Alright, let's test that. So this is our daily rental price, and this is our number of days. We click on checkout, and there you go. We have the total amount due, which is $2.50. Now we might want to add in the $sign, and to do that, we have seen this before in a previous video. We can use string concatenation and add the $sign to the value of our total label, which now looks much better. The next thing we're going to do is to add the shipping costs. So to our total variable, we would like to add the shipping costs. Therefore, we will have to create a new variable that we call shipping costs. And that variable will hold the value of our label. Again, we'll use the double parse method Now what we need to do is to add in the shipping cost variable. Now what we need to do is to add the shipping cost value to our total variable. So let's try that. Alright, and surely enough, our total amount now includes the shipping costs. Now, before we move any forward, it is very good practice to add parentheses to your calculations, because like in any calculations, C# takes into account the order of the operators and the precedence of the operators. But to avoid any issues, it would be better to use parentheses. Alright, the next thing we will do is to use the subtraction. For that, we will subtract the amount entered by the user in the coupon text box. So if a user has a coupon, they can enter that coupon amount, and it will be subtracted from the total amount to be due. Alright, so let's create a variable called coupon amount. And we'll use the double parse to include the value of our coupon text box. And this time we're going to subtract the value of our coupon. Now let's enter a $1 amount for our coupon. Check out. And it actually did create or did calculate the right amount for the total due. The next thing we will do now is to allow the user to change the value of the number. So we're going to create a button that will allow the user to increase the number of days they would like to rent the game for. We're going to call it the up button. Actually, we want to change the name of this button, not the text. So we will call it the up button. We will change the background image on that button. Since we're not using any text, we can use an up arrow image to illustrate to the user what the button is intended to do. We will change the layout of our image to stretch, and there we go. So we have our up button. We can create a very similar button. We can create a very similar button that we're gonna refer to as the down button. And for this one, we will choose a down arrow. Alright, so now we have our two buttons that are available to us. Let's change the up button click method. Now for this method, what we would like to do is to increment the value of the number of days. So first, let's create a double variable that we're going to call daysNum, which will include the value of our label. So we need to parse that variable into a double. Now what we would like to do is to add in 1 every time the user clicks on the up button. And in C# and in also various programming languages, you can use the plus sign to do that. And what plus sign does is simply increment the value of that the number of days variable. So basically this is what we're doing. These are equivalent. We can do either we can use days num equals days num plus 1, or for short we can use days num plus plus, and this is our increment operator. So let's see what that does. What we would like to do now is to use our days num label to store our new value of the number of days. And that should do it. Let's test it. We first need to convert our double variable into a string. Now if we click on the up arrow, it should increase my number of days by 1. So every time I click on that button, it should do the same thing and increase my number of days by 1. Alright, but now my down button doesn't do anything. Let's test our application, test everything that we have done so far. When we check out, this is the total amount due. Alright, for our down button, we will copy and paste the exact same code, but this time instead of using the increment operator, we're going to use the decrement operator. So now every time I click on the up arrow, it increases my value by 1. Every time I click on the down arrow, it decreases my value by 1. Alright, and these are our basic arithmetic operations in C#. I hope this has been helpful, and see you next time.